Now he begins to hide. Doesn't he? Yeah. What it does, he's not really hiding, he's just turning on his stealth camouflage and you have to spot him. I guess it could be somewhat hard to find him at times, but usually you find him quite easily. Even without the thermal goggles.
Like old times.
This is where he begins to attack you straight on, I believe. Yep. Now you just have to move when he teleports or whatever, so you don't get hit by his punch. Again. Not a lot left now. There's one or possibly two left. Oh, that's the last one. And here, I believe there's a short segment of this scene which I may see it differently or see it in the wrong way or something, but it doesn't make sense to me. I'm gonna point it out, but it seems like an error. Not in it shouldn't have been done sort of way, but a real error. Okay, check this out. Now... yeah, now. He throws him into the glass, into the supercomputer, and for some reason he lands outside. Just look at this, he has landed outside of that glass barrier thing and right in front of one of those poles. Is that just a perspective thing that messes with my eyes or something, or am I right in saying that there's an error there? Because how the hell does he get thrown in through the glass and ends up on the outside in front of one of the steel bars? Like I said, I might just perceive that incorrectly because of the perspective or whatever, but to me it looks like an error. And that's not even an error that you could argue, hey, that's just your opinion, it's that it doesn't look right, if that is what it looks like, because then it's just a complete error. I'm not 100% sure, but to me it looked like he got up in front of one of the steel bars, and anyway, I don't think he should be outside of that wall thing. I mean, yes, he does. When you fall forward a bit, but he wouldn't be completely outside of that wall. At best, I think his head or a bit of his neck would be outside or something, but that his whole body is on the outside of that wall and in front of one of the steel bars doesn't make sense to me. But anyway. And he smashes up the entire lab. And disappears. And if you didn't catch it and you don't know it, it is revealed. No, by the way, he explains it here, yeah. That it's Grey Fox.
Ridiculous. You yourself in Zanzibar land.
Yes.
That line is a bit weird to me too in the original. Is you of all people shouldn't... what is it? He says... the Colonel doesn't say you yourself in Zanzibar land. He says...
I never heard that.
That's ridiculous. You of all people should know what happened in Zanzibar land or something like that.
Yes. He started the gene therapy project.
Oh, by the way, if you listen to Naomi in this scene, I stated it in one of the in the beginning of the game too, but her voice acting is just horrendous. I mean, in the original, yeah, it's not revealed yet, but I'm gonna spoil it. I'm sorry if you don't know it already, but Grey Fox is
They fitted
the
him
brother
with a
of
prototype
Naomi.
exoskeleton and kept him drugged for 4 years while they experimented on him like a plaything.
Or the adoptive brother, or
Today's
whatever you
genome
want to. She's the
soldiers were born from
adopted
those
sister of his or something like that, you could say. But anyway,
They used him
the
to
brother,
test all sorts of
the
gene therapy
siblings.
Naomi, why didn't
So
you tell us
when
about
she
this
talks about
sooner?
this, that he was experimented on and used for human experiments and all that, with the exoskeleton and all that. In the originals, he has
What
a
happened to
really...
Gray Fox after that?
the tone in her voice and the emotion in her voice is real. You feel like, hey, she seems to be getting really emotional about this. There must be some reason for that. But here she sounds like she's bored. She's like, they did some experiments on him. That was really cruel.
Seems intent on fighting me to the death.
I don't really care, but
I know it.
So
anyway.
you'll fight again until you kill him.
I'd rather not.
I mean, where's the emotion? I know you cut out the accent, but did you have that accent just so you could get some emotion into the voice of the character? I mean, if for some weird reason that voice actress only has emotion in her voice when she does accents, that would be really weird.
I always work alone.
Or maybe the director or something told her to remove all emotion from her voice, which would be even weirder.
Come on, get out.
I don't know.
We can't stay here forever.
But she's by far the worst. She does by far the worst voiceover job in this particular game. There's a lot of others who does. There's a lot of other voice actors there's a lot of other voice acting in this game that is just horrendous as well. But she is just consistently horrible.
Here to rescue me?
There's no emotion in any line throughout the entire game. The others are
Well,
quite bad too, but at least some of them have 1 or 2 lines that are pretty good. Naomi is just dull and flat, emotionless all the time. And how that happened, I have no idea, because she was brilliant in the original.
I'm okay. I just twisted my ankle a little trying
But
to get
anyway,
away.
well, if that's all, it's nothing to worry about. I want to ask you
the
something.
scene I was talking about where they're supposed to reference Meryl's ass is coming up,
Yeah.
but I
What's
think
Metal
it's
Gear
still a
really designed for?
bit off. It's still
It's a mobile TMD.
a little while until
it's
that.
designed to shoot down nuclear missiles.
Because first
only for defensive
they talk
purposes,
about
of course.
Metal Gear Rex and its
I already know
capabilities,
Metal
and
Gear is nothing but a nuclear-equipped walking
how
death
Otacon has been tricked into creating a
What are you
new
talking about?
bipedal nuclear weapon.
Terrorists are planning to use Metal Gear to launch a nuclear
Oh, by the way,
missile.
this
You telling me you
is
didn't
also
know?
quite ridiculous. Why the hell is Snake holding him so far off the
A
ground?
disabled nuclear warhead?
Wrong.
I mean, come on.
From the beginning,
And for so long too, wouldn't he be extremely tied in his hands and arms? If he did that, I mean, in the original, he doesn't lift him up over his head.
You started.
He just drags him up to his face,
Wrong.
I heard it directly
which is
from
much
your
better and
boss.
much more reasonable. Why the hell does he lift him off the floor over his
A nuclear
face?
missile on Rex?
So you really
I
didn't
mean,
know?
it doesn't make sense. He's supposed to be intimidating. He's supposed to be, you know, don't lie to me, you
No.
bastard.
All the armament
You know,
was built by
intimidate
a
him a
separate
bit, but
department.
over
And
his
the president
head?
personally supervised
First
the
of all, how
final
much does
assembly of the
Otacon
main
weigh?
unit.
And second of all, what's the point?
Baker?
Yeah. I was never
If you
told
drag them up
exactly
to your
what they are
face,
Rex with.
right in his face,
I
then
only
you're
know it's
confronting him
equipped with
head, then you're
Vulcan
confronting him
cannon,
eye to
laser,
eye,
and a railgun.
and that's intimidating. But to lift him over your head can actually be quite comical.
A railgun, you said.
Yeah. It uses magnets to fire bullets at extremely high
And-
velocities.
And
The
the
technology
time
was
he
originally
holds him, I mean, he
developed
holds
for
him
the
there
SDI
for
system and
a
later
fairly long
scrapped.
time.
We were successful in miniaturizing
I mean,
it
you
in
should
a
do
joint venture
someone,
between
if they
Armstrong
haven't already,
and
should do a
Rivermont
parody of that
National
where
Labs.
Snake just falls
The
down
railgun
and
is on Rex's
Otacon
right
lands
arm.
on top of him or
Metal
something.
Gear's
That would be
main
more
function
realistic.
is to launch nuclear missiles. You
But anyway,
sure you're not forgetting
I just
something?
think
It's true that
it would have been
Metal Gear
one
has a
thing if
missile
it did it in
module
the
on his back
like
that
in the
can carry
original
up
where
to
he
8
just
missiles.
pulls him
But
up to his face
are you
and screams
saying
in his
it was
face.
originally meant to carry
But to lift
nuclear
him
missiles?
over his head by grabbing his collar just
Yeah,
seems
But that's not all,
ridiculous
I
to
think.
me.
If Metal Gear fired only standard nuclear missiles, then they should
don't know what
already
they were
have all the
thinking with
practical
that,
data
but-
they need.
No.
Again, another ridiculous scene.
Could it be?